Monatomic light of the Golden Age. Pleiadian Light Forces transmission, January 12, 2020. Channeled by Michael Love. A special message to the starseeds of New Earth, for immediate planetary broadcast. Prelude. The Pleiadians have a unique way of teaching and telling stories designed to activate DNA and expand consciousness on a planetary level. It's not so much about the story but about how the message is coded to fire your DNA. This message contains a lot of information, so take it slow and read it twice if you need to. Light is information and darkness is simply the lack of it. We have always been bringers of information to the beings of Earth, and the following data stream is created to open your ancient eyes and show you who and what you truly are. Tonight we will tell you the grand ancient story of how your world came to be and speak about an exotic piece of technology used by the gods to achieve what seemed like miracles. This advanced technology is part of nature and is still present on Earth today for you to use on your ascension journey. Parts of the information below are derived from etheric channeling of the Great White Brotherhood, the ancient mystery school and the master craftsmen of the Dragon Cord. Some of the data is derived from 100,000-year-old cuneiform tablets, and the documented work of David Hudson. It is truly the most amazing story ever told. We are the family of light and we promote peace, love, abundance, and freedom for all beings of the earth. Begin transmission. Great ones. In many of our teachings and messages we speak about the exotic technology of light, matter, atoms, and monatomic elements. Many have wondered specifically about monatomic gold and have asked why it is so important. In the understanding of monatomic elements, especially monatomic gold, lies the secrets of the mysteries of all human history, methods of powerful conscious awakening, the secret to many exotic technologies and the secret to a perpetual lifespan in a human vessel. Fully integrating and knowing this information is to obtain the highest level of awakening in this realm, as this knowledge base contains the complete and whole history of Earth's living library. Here is our story and our teaching about this. In the beginning was the Elohim. These grand beings have been given many names. The Lyrans, the Wingmakers, the Anunnaki, the Titans, the Olympians, the Giants, the Archangels, the Angels, the Pleiadians, the Gods, the Sons of God, and God. These are all the same magnificent beings that were assigned different titles by humans down through the ages. They and their direct descendants on Earth were also the Watchers, the Nephilim, the Atlanteans, the Lemurians, the Hyperboreans, the Agarthans, the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Incas, and the native Indians. This list has no end until you have named every culture that has existed on planet Earth unto present day. They have hundreds of other ancient titles including dragons, elves, mermaids, etc., and their names change depending on where they were in the cosmos or on Earth, and according to what civilization was speaking about them. We are going to simply call these grand beings, the Anunnaki, the ones who from heaven, came to Earth. These beings are neither good or evil and are in fact both, just as we all are, and as higher beings we do not pass judgment on anything or anyone. On a linear timeline, the Anunnaki are millions of years more advanced than the current human race, and they operate on many dimensional levels at once. From their own prehistorical written accounts. In grand celestial ships, the Anunnaki arrived on Earth from Nibiru circa 450,000 Earth years ago, before humans existed on the planet. As you have heard, from heaven to Earth they came down in those days seeking gold to repair a critical breach in their planet's atmosphere. It is recorded that the Anunnaki did not come seeking material gold medals on Earth, but they were only interested in the pure, fine, white powder of gold, monatomic gold. The primary reason for obtaining this white powder monatomic gold was to spray it into their atmosphere as a reflective metallic shield against damaging solar rays on Nibiru. But that is not the whole story. Transmuted monatomic gold had another valuable and ultimately more important use to the Anunnaki. When ingested as a powder or in an elixir into their bodies, the monatomic white powder gold greatly extended their lifespan and instantly healed all cellular damage. The Anunnaki are incredibly advanced beings, but with all of this knowledge their main focus, obsession, and effort was on obtaining monatomic gold from Earth. The Anunnaki are ultimately immortal, they are able to shapeshift, they can travel through time, travel through infinite dimensional space, and have incredible technological knowledge that has no limits. They have the understanding of how to create or dismantle a star. How could the Anunnaki have possibly have had all of this knowledge, their supernatural abilities, and achieve the incredible things they accomplished? Nibiru's celestial orbit and atmosphere are quite different from Earth's, however this only allows for what we call as time to pass by much slower, and it is not their primary source of divine and supernatural power and higher consciousness. It is important to note that the prime way the Anunnaki achieved their incredible lifespans and power was by ingesting a substance called starfire, which is the lunar menstrual essence of Anunnaki females. Also, if you look closer into their written accounts of life on Nibiru, their primary daily ritual was to consume the bread and wine of long life. The wine of long life was an elixir of gold-infused, female Anunnaki blood. The bread of long life was made of pure white monatomic flour, powder. Was both the wine and the bread of life required for them to achieve near immortality and incredible levels of consciousness and supernatural ability? Now here is the end of the mystery. The answer is no. These two ingestible substances that produce melatonin, serotonin, and telomerase are 100% interchangeable, and only one of these methods is all that is required. As you will see later, when the wine became not so available on Earth, it was in fact replaced solely by the bread of long life, monatomic white powder gold. The Anunnaki understood that DNA is a type of transistor, silica sandwiched between two pieces of gold, tipped with telomeres made of monoatomic gold dust. The ingestion of pure manna, or ambrosia, was designed to recharge the cellular structure by sharpening the telomeres and thus arresting the aging process. Through the regular use of monatomic gold, the recipients had been moved into realms of heightened awareness and consciousness because of its inherent melatonin and serotonin, which ultimately produces telomerase, can cause cells to divide and regenerate forever. Yes, they had to fix their planet's atmosphere. However, the Anunnaki's primary goal in their mission to Earth in those days was based around their quest for monatomic gold to sustain their long life and divine powers. Of course, one of the first tasks after landing on Earth 450,000 years ago was to scan the water for gold. Ultimately, gold was found in the sea waters in the Persian Gulf, and word was beamed back to Nibiru that the Anunnaki mission to Earth to find gold was a success. At a later point, the Anunnaki discovered gold veins in South Africa where tremendous amounts of gold could be mined, refined, processed, and sent back to Nibiru on giant celestial chariots, barge ships. Tens of thousands of ancient gold processing plants and refineries, stone circle/stone wall tanks, were constructed in southern Africa by the Anunnaki to heat and transmute the mined gold into the precious white monatomic powder. When you are fully awake, you shall know the truth. As the story goes on, after doing thousands of years of back-breaking work in the gold mines of Earth, the Anunnaki grew tired of the hard labor and decided to create a being to do the work for them. After many attempts, Master Anunnaki geneticist Enki successfully splices Anunnaki DNA with the ape-like Earth creature, creating the first human, Adam. Next, the first female human, Eve, was created from the DNA of Adam's rib bone marrow. This gene manipulation experiment was only successful when the combined genes were incubated inside an earthen clay vessel. Why? Because human cells can only develop and grow in a normal way when infused with the metal elements of the earth, primarily gold, silver, and platinum. This creation story is the most incredible true tale you have ever heard. Though you can read an overview in the Bible, we refer you to research Enki's tablets for the intricate details. Humans were soon given the Anunnaki chromosomes required to create life among themselves, and they began to multiply on the earth. Over time, the sacred Anunnaki starfire wine of Nibiran female royals became scarce on Earth. At the same time, many new Anunnaki bloodline kings were being established over the new civilizations of Earth, so a starfire substitute was introduced by the Anunnaki High Council for these royal bloodline kings to consume. This replacement nourishment of long life was the sacred white powder of life, monatomic gold. In those days, the Great White Brotherhood was established by the Anunnaki for the sole purpose of guarding the Grail stone secrets of monatomic gold. This esoteric Great White Brotherhood derived their name from the white powder of gold. The sacred knowledge of the new replacement white powder, monatomic gold of the gods, was first passed down from Mesopotamia through Abraham and Moses of the Melchizedek priesthood. The Melchizedek priests were the first to introduce the Anunnaki ritual of divine communion, the human ingestion of the Anunnaki bread and wine of immortality. The new bread substitute called showbread was made from shimana, the white powder of gold, which the Mesopotamians called high ward firestone. You have heard the biblical story of the white bread that fell from heaven called manna that Moses fed the children of Israel in the Sinai desert. This white substance was white monatomic gold, actually produced and ejected from a stone smelting area on the top of Mount Sinai that is still there today. Modern archaeologists discovered tons and tons of this powder in the ancient megalithic ruins of Mount Sinai, which was totally not understood and was hauled away as debris. The primary master craftsman of monatomic gold in those ancient days was Anunnaki goldsmith, Bezalel/Tubal-Cain, son of Lamech. Tubal-Cain was the great Vulcan and metallurgist of Mesopotamia who manufactured the valuable shimana from pure gold. And Bezalel, Tubal-Cain, was filled with the spirit of the Elohim, the Anunnaki, in wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. He was a skilled goldsmith and master craftsman who was placed in overall charge of building the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant. When the Ark of the Covenant was completed, Aaron was said to have placed an omer of manna into the Ark. This sacred manna was commonly associated with a mystical form of bread, the showbread, or, as it was called in Tubal-Cain's Mesopotamia, the shimana. At this point, we come to a particularly important definition of the showbread. According to the master craftsman, this conically shaped, or shem-shaped, food was made of high ward firestone. Give us this day our daily bread. Refers to this enigmatic showbread, the golden bread of Bezalel. The ancient knowledge of monatomic alchemy later made its way onto Egypt through Moses. In ancient Egypt, the shefa food was always depicted as a conical cake. This Egyptian showbread or shefa food was a traditional entitlement of Israelite and Egyptian messiahs, and the early pharaohs, for they were fully consecrated priest kings of the Grail bloodline, having descended through King Nimrod in the Canaanite succession. This metallic bread was used to feed the light body, as against the physical body, and the light body, the Ka, was deemed to be the consciousness. As far back as 2200 BC, the pharaohs were using this bread of long life to enhance their pituitary and pineal activity, thereby heightening their perception, awareness, and intuition, but only the metallurgical adepts of the mystery schools, the master craftsmen of the dragon court, knew the secret of its manufacture. Monatomic gold is the sacred Grail stone, also called the angelic Sintamani stone, the lapis exilis said to have fell from heaven, from the crown of an angel. It is the lapis elixir, the philosopher's stone of Thoth Hermes emerald tablets, by which base elements are transformed to higher states of being. It is the fruit of the tree of knowledge, the Anunnaki fountain of youth called Sonoma and Ambrosia by the Greeks. This white sacred stone of life is the Grail stone of Sangreal, which was safely guarded by King Arthur Pendragon, King of Britons, and the Merovingian royal king bloodline, the direct descendants of the Anunnaki. This mysterious Grail stone is behind every enlightened society on the planet since day one and has been spoken about in almost every great story in the history of Earth. What is it? The very definition of the word manna is, what is it? Maybe the modern science of Earth can tell you what it is. Maybe you simply need to do some very in-depth research about what it is. Maybe if you truly find out what it is, you should simply follow the lead of the gods. With that said, always use the highest wisdom in everything that you do. Moving forward in time to modern day. Science rediscovers monatomic gold alchemical technology. David Radius Hudson extensively lab-tested and documented what has become the most special state of matter, known to science. David rediscovered the lost knowledge of creating white powder gold using the methods of science and without direct knowledge of the ancient Anunnaki monatomic secrets. David Hudson proved these materials can be refined from ores which do not analyze by conventional Western instruments for any of said transition and noble metals, or by conversion of from pure metals or metal salts of said elements into the orbitally rearranged monoatomic species. He also proved it is possible to isolate exotic monatomic elements from water-based solutions and certain plants and substances in nature. He focused in on the orbitally rearranged monoatomic transition group elements from the group consisting of cobalt, nickel, copper, silver, gold, palladium, platinum, ruthenium, rhodium, iridium, and osmium. David Hudson showed the elongated nuclei, 2:1 height-width ratio, of monoatomic elements allowed for a high spin state, along with paired electrons, making them biosuperconductors. He stated further that monoatomic gold facilitates a flow of energy through the body with little or no resistance, and that light continues to flow for a long duration, even without additional external potential. His experiments demonstrated that transition metals can be driven into high energy states if heated repeatedly in the correct conditions, rendering an excited atom. The result is a cloud of unstable electrons that give off energy as they drop in the atomic orbitals. According to Hudson and according to the Soviet Academy of Sciences, the trick is to understand the proper analytical tool is to burn the sample in the emission spectroscopic analysis for 300 seconds, not just 15. This long burn produces monatomic powder without fail every time. White powder gold goes through various changes as the metal-to-metal bonds are broken and through cycles of heating and cooling under a vacuum. The final powder, indicating the complete absence of metal-to-metal bonds, is pure white. Hudson documented the strange metaphysical behaviors of his white powder of gold in the lab. When attempting to weigh the transmuted white powder, he was shocked to see it fluctuating in weight and mass at different temperatures and at one point even weighing less than the pile of original powder, including the weight of the pan it was in. He also noticed his white powder gold, at certain temperatures, literally disappeared from physical view and moved from one dimension to another. He stated you could stir the pile around and flatten it out, then and after it disappeared and came back into view when it cooled, it had reverted back to its original shape as a pile. David said monoatomic gold creates a light vortex that is spinning, or spiraling at tremendous speed with zero momentum, a null particle/wave. A particle is simply a wave that is brought into form by attention and observation. In fact, when the counter-spinning electron fields interact, the vortex created is no longer truly a particle or wave in space/time. These null waves exist in a state beyond energy blockages in the body, yet they intersect physical reality, carrying more and more light through your bodies with joyful ease. It is a scientifically provable intersection between material and spiritual worlds. David Hudson stated that the high monatomic spin state equals M state, or metallite, is light that ultimately heals DNA, all the way down to the subatomic level. The term high ward firestone, spoken of old about monatomic gold, illustrates that multidimensional monatomic gold is manifested when atoms are heated a certain way, creating a high spin monatomic state. This M state is now considered by modern Earth scientists to be the new state of matter. White monatomic powder has an effect on the endocrinal system, particularly on the pineal gland, thereby causing the recipient to manufacture his own super high levels of hormones such as melatonin and serotonin, which lead to telomerase production. David proved scientifically that monatomic white powder gold is a truly exotic substance which defies the laws of physics. His work paved the way for modern advanced superconductor research, which is now becoming the accepted norm. Recent science has shown that superconductors emit exotic matter that can literally bend space-time and provide a method of space travel that is faster than light speed. Furthermore, a unique type of volcanic crystal also contains trace amounts of monatomic elements. The first monatomic crystal of modern times was found over 50 years ago in Northern California, by an Indian woman in 1967. Her name was Lady Nellie. The label Andara was given to these crystals by a respected spiritual medium, close to Lady Nellie, who held and meditated on the energy of these crystals. In 1995, a major mineral deposit was discovered in this same area in the Sierra Nevada mountains due to a strong earthquake that caused part of a mountain to slide away, exposing tons of glass-like crystals. Verifiable scientific tests were performed on the material found on the soil from this land, by using a long-burn 300-second spectroscopic analysis, by both US and Russian scientists, and academia members. David Hudson and associates from MIT also tested this crystal-like material. These crystals from the Mount Shasta area were found to contain high levels of monatomic elements of gold, silver, iridium, rhodium, chromium, platinum, and other monatomic minerals in a high spin state. Very specialized equipment, primarily a 300-second spectroscopic machine, is needed to test for monatomics, because normal elemental and geological testing procedures produce inconclusive results or unknown substance. Under the 300-second spectroscopic analysis test, genuine Andara crystal, found in only certain areas of the planet, will contain trace amounts of this exotic monatomic material. Andaras are nature's hybrid crystals that have a beautiful obsidian-like appearance and crystal lattice. Most Andaras are also naturally fused with other organic crystal and earth elements, mostly quartz. Andaras are formed much like obsidian and similar crystals when silica is exposed to the high heat and pressure from volcanic activity or tectonic movement in the upper crust of the earth. When the material cools, it takes on a glass-like texture and derives its color from chemical elements that are nearby. When heated under certain conditions, monatomic metallic elements, normally 35% silica, is transmuted and fuses into a beautiful obsidian-like material composed of 75% silica. This transmutation is another example of the unexplainable metaphysics of monatomic material. Other tests revealed that monatomic metallic elements have the ability to resonate similar metallic or silica materials to their high frequency rate, transmuting and/or transforming that material to resemble and reflect its properties. Monatomic crystals can be traced directly back to the Anunnaki and their descendants that inhabited the Earth over 12,000 years ago, including Lemuria and Atlantis. Atlantis featured 12 50-foot Andara crystal columns around their islands, each emitting a glowing aura of color that could be seen for miles. Every aspect of ancient Atlantean society was powered by the energy of these crystals. In ancient Lemuria, Andaras were used in sacred temples for healing, rejuvenation, transcendence, and to raise consciousness to very high dimensions. Enki's son, Thoth-Ningyi-Zeta, placed several megalithic Andaras in the early pyramids of Giza in early Egypt to serve as laser beacons for inbound Anunnaki cargo ships coming to Earth. The beauty and metaphysical properties of these crystals are a powerful attraction for many spiritual seekers and energy workers still today. Andaras are gorgeous stones, but why are they so special? Andaras are crystal amplifiers of high vibrational energy. Their two primary functions are: they transduce and amplify etheric energy, cosmic light, coming into the auric field. And secondly, they amplify and transmit auric energy being emitted from the auric field. Since your auric field creates all matter that makes up your perceived reality and outer world by default. When Andaras are introduced into this process is amplified up to 10 times. The result in simple terms is that you will manifest the energy that you are into the physical world with up to 10 times more power and speed. Everyone that has ever worked with these crystals in a serious way will tell you there is something going on with them. With this said, the disclaimer is that one must be ready for Andaras in a spiritually strong and mature way, and one must keep their internal vibration as high as possible when Andaras are near. Andaras simply amplifies the energy around them, so great awareness must be used to make sure the vibes are high and positive. The true test of the power of these monatomic crystal amplifiers is to simply keep the crystals close to your auric field and then watch what happens. When we say watch what happens, we mean be super aware of what begins transpiring around you and be conscious the crystals are close by. After a time, you will make the connection that something is indeed happening here, and you will begin to notice a sort of magic occurring. Keep in mind that you are causing it all to happen. However, the crystals are powerful ascension tools that greatly boost the manifestation process. In a short period of time you will see strong synchronicities, and amazing and beautiful things will begin to manifest into your life that were not there before. The bread of long life of the Anunnaki, the manna of the Bible, the white powder of gold of Thoth Hermes, the advanced crystal knowledge of Atlantis and Lemuria has all been a very important and guarded secret throughout history. Just as the highest and most divine knowledge has always been reserved for the masters and only the mature spiritual adept, to the one who is ready, it shall be given. It was said that to him that overcometh, I will give to eat of the hidden manna and will give him a white stone. Now dear one, we come to the end of our great story and you have a lot to think about. The truth about what really happened on planet Earth is quite shocking when it is fully discovered, but only in the knowing of this is the full path to enlightenment found. The story is true, but as we said, it's not so much about the story, it's about what is happening inside of you right now. If you stop for a moment, you will notice that something is stirring inside of you. Through your divine blood flows the golden light of the archangels. You are celestial royalty and the greatest Grail king that has ever sought after the most divine treasures of light. When you were created with such magnificence. You were filled with the spark of the divine light of the creator of all that is, and you are already enlightened, dear one. All you have to do is realize how magnificent you truly are, and then simply start being this. How about tomorrow, you wake up, decide you are going to make peace with what happened, let it go, change focus, and from that moment forward, be fully in control of your life and begin to live your life to the fullest. This is the way of the higher being, and this is the way of a God. Thank you for coming to Earth at this time and for all that you have done. Godspeed. Michael and the Pleiadians. A recommended source for authentic pure white monatomic gold powder. BlueEmeraldAlchemy.com. A recommended source for authentic monatomic Andara crystals. AndaraEnterprise.com. These crystals come from only specific areas in the world, primarily from high energy vortex, crystal, quartz, and diamond mining areas in the Sierra Nevada mountains in Northern California, the Crystal Mountains of Arkansas, the largest single mineral deposit in the world, the Lemurian island of Hawaii, with the highest concentration of monatomic elements in the world, and from the southern tip of Africa, near Inki's original home, in the Absu.